Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare again with you on the 21st of December 2022. I have with me today psychic medium, remote viewer, and all-time soccer expert, Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
Soccer? I don't call it soccer.
I know you don't, but your American
football.
colleagues and friends do. We call it football, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's football. What?
It is football. I know.
Very well. Listen, this was a great World Cup. Those of you on the Patreon, I was putting out predictions most days. I did take a little break in between when England were getting to, past the next stage, because then I'm like listening to my husband and my kids and my dad. Everybody here is male in my house, even the dog. And they were all like, well, if this team wins and if that team wins and if this one loses and England could make it. And then if England does this and if England does that. And so I had to take a break because I was getting too emotionally involved. But for the most part, I maintained a 75 to 80% hit rate on those games. Now, despite me saying, no one bet on my predictions, please. Mr. Shakespeare, you completely ignored my rules and you did anyway.
I did. Yep. But unfortunately, I tried to be a bit clever sometimes and I shouldn't have been. Had I have just done exactly your predictions, then I would have actually come out on top. But I didn't. I slightly lost a bit of money because I put some extra bets. I was only betting £5 and £10. I think the most I ever bet was 20, but there were £5 and £10 bets. But sometimes, you see, on the app that I was using, we were betting on the the result at the end of full time, including any injury time. We were not betting on like penalties or, extra time or anything like that. So sometimes I would put two bets on the same, knowing that one was going to win and one was going to lose. Well, obviously, sometimes the winnings won, the odds weren't as good, and the lost, I ended up losing. It worked out. I ended up losing £60.
Oh no. Okay, but that had nothing to do with what I was putting out.
Oh no, nothing to do with you at all. No, I mean, if I'd have just stuck to your bet, I mean, what you were saying, it's just that I went on my own sometimes, and you didn't call on every match, so
No, I did call every match. Because I was getting too emotionally involved, and I could see that.
No, but what you called out on, like you say, you had your husband track your thing, and you were 75 to 80%, which is excellent. That's a very good thing.
Well, and that's why that we got dumped by two bookies out of Vegas. One of which were trying to find me and really probably going to teach me a lesson. Johnny No Thumbs. I'm serious, people. I'm not making that up. Johnny No Thumbs wanted to know where Liz was, and they wouldn't disclose my information, because all it needs is for you to consistently beat the bookie, right? The bookie doesn't want you to win. The gambling, the apps, or whatever it is you're using, their goal is that you will lose. And when you are calling games, and you may lose one or two here and there, but when you're calling games and you've got a 75 to 80% hit rate, and you're keeping that hit rate. There was one day that I actually bombed out and I got all three games wrong, and I realized my mistake. And my mistake was I forgot to clear my energy field. And that's a whole technique that I learned to do. Listen, I've been doing this for a long time, and I learned that you have to clear your energy field. There's a whole thing about it. You can't have anybody step into that space. And unfortunately, somebody in my house had stepped into that space and asked me a question, then they walked off, and I didn't clear my energy field again. So there residual energy stayed in my energy field, and I tried to make those predictions, and I got all three wrong. It was a hard lesson to learn. However, when we had some really close nail-biting games, especially the final, and I have a muscle tester, a very good muscle tester on the Discord, who goes by Jake from State Farm. Don't ask me why he chose that name. I have no idea. I've known him for years and years and years. We're friends. And he was muscle testing the same games that I was remote viewing. And sometimes we matched, but a lot of times we didn't. And that was fun. And it was also a load of fun when the games were on. We're all watching it, or at least those of us that like football. And of course, I had no choice because, like I said, I have all males in my house. The football's on, especially the World Cup, right? The World Cup is the bee's knees of football, as far as we're concerned in this house. And we're like, goal, goal, this one. And then people get panicked, including you, Mr. Shakespeare. And you're like, Liz, are they really going to win this game? And I'm like writing back to you saying, I don't actually know, but I never, ever change my predictions, ever, ever. And
don't forget, as far as I was concerned, my app, that only cared about the result at the end of full time, including injuries. So it doesn't matter whether, whoever won after that. So I wasn't really following that. I was trying to work out, the full time score. And a lot of times I was betting on a draw. I've just looked at the app, actually. I started off with £500 and I seem to have got £460 back. So I actually only lost 40 quid. So, but I had a lot of fun for all the game. I mean, I bet on loads of things, everything you did and a few more. So I did do very well. I just, sometimes my exuberance there was, but anyway, I mean, it's fine.
It was fun. We had a great time with it. And I'm looking forward to the Euro Cup. I mean, that's it. I'm sorry to the subscribers that had to put up with that and you're not into football. But it was fun. We just I love it. It is fun. It's exciting. And that France and Argentina game, at first, Argentina goes in, they're scoring 2 goals. France are playing rubbish. And I'm like, hell yeah, Liz has called another one. And not only did I call the other one, I called the final. And then France, the flu meds kicked in because, they weren't feeling well. But I didn't know that when I was doing my prediction.
Well, they didn't play very well for 80 minutes, and then they got a penalty, and then, of course, that revitalized them completely. But I'm glad that they lost.
That's so mean.
Well, no, I'm glad they lost because out of the last 4 teams, I wanted anybody to win but France. And the reason is because France is controlled by Davos deep state. All the other 3 countries are not.
Oh no.
Simple as that. France is a Davos country. Look at Macron. We don't, he actually turned up at the finals, didn't he? And he was part of the people giving out the medals. I mean, yeah. Anyway, they lost. So I'm glad Argentina won. But I'd have been happy with Morocco or Croatia. I'd have been happy with them. But I'm glad Argentina won for another reason. It's because of this guy on the screen.
Messi. And for those of you, if we suddenly disappear, excuse me, off of YouTube because Mr. Shakespeare said the words deep state, please make sure you're signed up on the newsletter so you know where to find us if I get pulled down. You should always go to psychiclizcross.com and make sure you're signed up on that newsletter. All right. So I don't even know who Maradona is. My husband was all excited. I said, I think we're doing a channeling of Maradona. He's like, wow, that's so cool. I'm like, who is that? So Mr. Shakespeare, please explain.
Well, hold on. Let's get rid of this lot. So, Diego Maradona. Diego Maradona was, in some people's view, many people's view, the world's best player for many years. He won the World Cup with Argentina. He's won just about a lot of things. He unfortunately passed away a couple of years back. And Lionel Messi who's also Argentinian, has probably eclipsed him now because Lionel Messi has won absolutely everything there is to win. The only thing that Lionel Messi hadn't won was the World Cup, and he's now done that. So I don't know who you want to start with, Maradona or Messi.
Yeah, we can start with Maradona.
Okay, so he's in spirit, obviously, because he passed 2 years ago.
Yes, and he had a very difficult passing, unfortunately.
Right. Well, the first question I have to ask is, what does he think about Argentina winning the World Cup again?
Oh, he's really happy about that. He's jumping up and down. He's got his World Cup or the World Cup trophy in his hand, and he's showing it to me. We won. We won. We're the best team in the world.
Okay. What does he think of Lionel Messi?
Excellent. He really looks up to Messi. He's a star player. He admires him. And he says, when I reincarnate, I want to be another like Messi, another Maradona. He loved this life so much.
Yeah.
He wants to come back and do it all over again. He doesn't care if he has to grow up in the slums. He doesn't care if he has a hard life as a street kid. He doesn't care. He wants this life again because he says there's no greater feeling than winning.
Right. Yeah. Well, he was a very accomplished player in his lifetime, and a lot of us watched him in the international games, and we're very, very impressed by what we saw. I think, and we'll ask Messi in a minute, but I think it's my belief that Messi, when growing up, he idolized Maradona. He wanted to be like Maradona. So
that is correct.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Listen, these guys have not had rosy upbringings.
No, they haven't. Argentina is not one of the easiest places to be brought up on. But I mean, I will say one thing. I think, in my opinion, they had the best fans at the World Cup. They made the most noise, seemed to be the most happy. They seemed to support their team better than any other. I thought the Moroccan fans were very good, and they would be my number two. But I think as fan support going all the way through the World Cup, Argentina took it, as far as I was concerned. Right. Can you get a connection with Mr. Messi, Maria?
Yes, I do. He's really just chilled out at home.
Right. What was the celebrations like in Buenos Aires when he got back?
He's like crazy, madness, like people just going mental. And he's saying, we needed that. We needed that. The country has been low morale, and this has given us hope.
Okay. There are many people now acclaiming him to be the best player ever. What does he think about that?
He's actually quite humble. I didn't realize that until now. He's like, well, that's really nice. Thank you. But do you consider yourself to be the best player in the world? He's like, no, there's far better out there than me. It was all about timing. I just know how to time things right. And he says timing is everything.
Okay. Is he retiring from international football now?
Yes.
After this? He is. Yeah. Well,
How
he's 30. I think he's 35 or 36, something like that.
Yeah, he's soon to be 37.
All right.
Yes, he says it's time for me to go. And he's happy to pass that torch along to the next best player. What do you think about, how do you pronounce it? Is it Mbappe? Mbappe. What do you think about Mbappe? He thinks he's a good player. He's a really nice guy, Messi. He's very.
He plays with Mbappe at Paris Saint-Germain, which is their team club that the three top players play at the moment.
Oh, I didn't know.
You've got Lionel Messi, you've got Kylian Mbappe, and you have Neymar, Brazilian guy.
Oh, they're all on the same team?
They all play for Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah.
Okay. So that's why he was very friendly about Mbappe. Okay, that makes sense to me because he looks at him like, yeah, he's a great player. He just feels privileged to play with excellent football players. He wants to do this again and again and again, but he's saying, I need to concentrate on my life more. I need to concentrate on my family. I feel like he was never home. I feel like, he's like, it's time. It's time to just go. But
So
I
is
always believe
he
he'll
going
be
to carry on
involved.
with his club career at Paris Saint-Germain? Surely. I mean, he's under contract there. I don't know for how long, but is he going to carry on there?
Yeah, till the contract expires, and then I think that's it.
He'll hang up his boots, yeah?
Yeah. But what I do feel very strongly with him, and this is really nice, is that he's going to work on a lot of children's charities. So a lot of South American, the very destitute areas, and promote these, little clubs or charities that get children involved in football. Because I feel he wasn't wealthy. He didn't grow
No,
up
he
wealthy.
wasn't. I mean, he's very wealthy now, but will he end up? I mean, he's got homes in Miami, in Spain, in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. Will he go back? Will he end up back in Argentina? Argentina?
Do you want to go back to Argentina? I don't think he will.
Oh, okay.
And I think that the reason is because he is thinking about the future of his family. And
Right. Where does he think he will end up then? America or Spain? Or?
He wants to go to America. He believes that there's more opportunity for his children. Yes. What about Spain? No, he really likes America, actually. I think he will keep ties, obviously, to Argentina. He says, I'll keep the houses there. We'll go there every chance we get. But I feel like he really wants, and I don't know how many children he has, but I feel like he really wants his children to go to private school, boarding school here in the States, like the best schools, the best opportunities.
Right. Okay. Well, good. All right. Well, I think there's a lot of people globally who were happy that Argentina won, not just me, out of the Final Four. And I think a lot of people wanted them to win because they wanted it to be Lionel Messi's World Cup. So I think there was a lot of neutrals, in fact, involved that, were rooting for him, just because we'll never see a player like him again. Not consistently over so many years. I mean, he's been around for 20 years now. So,
and let's ask him this question because we have to. What do you think about the England team? He's laughing at me. He's laughing. And I'm like, why are you laughing at that question? And he's like, just that's so funny, Liz. Why would you even ask me that? I feel like, the England team, they do try, and they certainly have gotten better over the last couple of World Cups, right? And the Euro Cup was pretty good. But when you're up against teams like Argentina, France, Croatia, and Morocco was a big surprise. It's a different level of playing altogether.
Well, England's team will do a lot better when they ditch Southgate. He is the wrong manager for our team. He's politically correct. He's, in with the establishment of the FA. He's all the things that, they want on the poster, but he's not their best manager. You look at some of the managers that were managing the teams in the World Cup, from Scaloni in Argentina to even Didier Deschamps in France, to the Brazilian managers. They all had a fire about them. Southgate doesn't have a fire about him. He's like, he's like a wet weekend in Amsterdam. I mean, it's just no. That's why he's laughing, because we have to get rid of our manager. The
But
man
when,
should.
hold on, but when have you ever seen a manager with fire under them in the UK?
Oh, lots. Just look at some of
never
the
seen
Premiership managers. They have fire under them. The best managers that could have been for England were never allowed. They should have had Brian Clough for England. They were never going to allow a firebrand like him. He took Notts Forest to the European Cup twice, finals, and won. So, they don't like. England is quite conservative with their managers. They want, they want to be good at press conferences or something like that. If they happen to be any good at managing football, well, that's a bonus. We never, ever pick the best people for the job. We always, being English, we pick, in my opinion, the people who tick the most, correct boxes, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the saying, think out of the box, Look at the manager of Argentina. He was an ex-player of some repute, but he had no real major managerial experience. Look what he's done. He's taken the South American team to the World Cup final and won. He beat the reigning champions. He won. And Didier Deschamps, which is the manager of France, is no pushover, is no walk in the park. He's a very, very, very good manager. He was a very good player as well, and they took him on and they beat them.
Well, it was a fun time.
We're on the plane singing, it's going home, it's going home. Not it's coming home, it's going home. Or we're going home or something,
What is it? What?
Well, they renamed the song, not it's coming home, but we're going home, we're going home.
Yeah. But the England fans actually got through a whole World Cup with not one arrest. So that is quite an achievement.
Right.
I think that's
the no alcohol policy in Qatar had a lot to do with that. So England fans are not used to that.
No.
Apparently, coffee is the new alcohol in Qatar. But we probed Qatar, we probed the Emir, and it did. I mean, I thought it worked very well. I thought the World Cup went off very well. It was probably one of the best spectacles that I've seen. Some of the matches were, that final was one of the best finals we've ever seen. So I think overall, I think the probe that we did on Qatar, on the Emir of Qatar, which we did as a future thing, looking back, I think, that was spot on. You can class that as a hit because it worked. I mean,
yay.
Yeah.
Well, next time the World Cup is in North
it's in America and it's split, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mexico.
Why is it split between Mexico and America?
I don't know. It's Mexico, USA, and Canada. So
really,
I think that's going to be a logistical nightmare.
It is, because if you're in Canada and you've got to fly to Mexico, I mean, right,
for another game. It really is. So my take on it is this: I'm saving up now. Right. And I'm going to rent an RV.
Right.
And I will be driving my household up and down wherever the games are. Yeah, we're going. And my friend, who calls herself Grot Bags, I love her. My best friend, she likes her dad and her boyfriend, all that. They're into the football as well. She's going to be in the RV behind me. So we're going to drive our RVs up and down and camp. And go to the games if we can score tickets.
Right.
That'll be something.
But I mean, Canada, I don't know where in Canada the games are going to be, but Canada to Mexico is a fair old drive. That's a fair old drive.
Yeah, that's why we're.
And don't forget, in the group stages, there's matches every day.
Well, I can't afford to fly back and forth, so I'll just have to gun it. Wherever we're going, I'll just have to done it. It's so weird to me that they would have it in 3 different countries, but whatever.
Why don't we just hold on a minute? Hold on.
FIFA's a nightmare.
Yeah, but can we? Right, hold on. Can we ask them why they're doing that?
Why are you doing that? To make it fair. It's all about fairness of profit.
Fairness. In other words, they want to split the money between the three nations.
Yes, because they want to show to be a benefit to all.
Okay, but I mean, when they awarded Qatar the World Cup franchise this year, and then 4 years ago Russia, I mean, they didn't split those. I mean, Qatar, got everything. Russia got everything. Germany got everything, or whenever it was before that. I mean, why are they splitting now?
Because why are you splitting now? Because they don't want to give America the all the glory, like all the profit.
Okay, but then why not just give it to Mexico? Or soccer, America, football is not a big thing in America.
No, it isn't.
So why not give it to Mexico, for example, where it is a big thing? I wouldn't even give it to Canada, because they don't rank. I mean, they play ice hockey or something, don't they? They don't play football. So
Right.
why didn't you give it to Mexico? Because out of all of those countries, the football is bigger in Mexico than it is in the US and Canada.
That's a good question. And the answer that came back was that Mexico are not financially equipped to handle this level of tournament. So for the stadium,
I can't argue with that.
Right. There you go.
So they need America. They need American money, and to get American money, they've got to. America's definitely got the stadiums, the capacity. America can do it standing on its head on its own. It doesn't need anybody. But yeah, okay. Well, I get it. They want to be a bit okay. All right. But it is going to be. They do realize, do they not, that it's going to be a logistical nightmare to get all the games sorted.
They don't actually care about that.
No. Well, okay. Well, no. There's probably enough local people. If you are in, let's say, Ontario, or and then let's say that you are in, I don't know, Georgia, or somewhere Atlanta, and then somewhere you are in Mexico City, for example, there will be enough local support there to fill the stadiums anyway, I would imagine, and that's probably what they're banking on.
Is that what you're banking on, that the local support will be enough? Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And also people flying in just to say Mexico, or just to say, people from Europe are not going to be doing the caravan of love up and down the country, are they? So a lot of people might just fly into Mexico, or fly into Canada, or fly into America and do that whole thing. I mean, they might just, do it from there. That might be a good thing. Yeah,
but in order to get the tickets, you really have to belong to the country's club membership. So starting in January, the England team opened their membership back up, and you have to subscribe to it. And it's right. The longest serving members that get the access to the tickets first. Right. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it could just be a useless exercise, but we'll see. I'm hopeful. This is my hopium. You all have your hopiums and cryptos and all this stuff. My hopium is that I get to drive an RV and go to a World Cup England match. So there you go, Mr. Shakespeare. But it was loads of fun. And thank you, everybody that participated. You were all good sports. We had a great time. We had fun watching the games. And the other thing that I want to say is those of you in Europe that are on the Discord, you actually had a 45-second, you were 45 seconds ahead of us. So I couldn't keep the Discord open. I closed it. And I would only say goal 45 seconds later because we were on a delayed feed. So I didn't want to see you guys shouting goal, and then I knew that a goal was coming up. I still wanted to keep that element of surprise. So you guys actually had 45 seconds of information ahead of us. And okay. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Was that done deliberately, do you think, or is it just the time it took for the tech, for everything to move? Sort of thing.
I think it was the time it took to get everything to move. I think you were closer, so the signal got to you guys first, and then we were on a 45-second delay. But this was great. This was great, and I'm so thrilled, and we had a good time. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys can join us for the Euro Cup. Again, those predictions are only on the Patreon. Patreon /remote viewing and beyond. And we just have so much fun. So thank you.